First of all, I'll introduce myself because some of you might be wondering who I am. So I'm Emma Barnes. I'm Football Development Manager here at Surrey FA. I also have the exciting job of leading women's and girls participation, which, to be honest, is the best part of the job because it's absolutely something I really love. I've been involved in County FA football now for a number of years. I won't tell you how many, but a long time. I'm also a UEFA B coach. I have been a coach mentor, and I'm also a talent ID reporter for the women's game. So lots of different hats, as well as some other hats that areas I lead on in the women's, the Surrey FA role that I do. But I won't bore you with that bit. I'll hand you over to Chloe now, who'll tell you a little bit about what she does.
Yeah, hi, I'm Chloe. I think I recognise some faces, but I'm the Workforce Development Officer. I have sort of worked across football development for the last 4.5 years now, but this new role I've been doing for about a year, and essentially my cup of tea are coaches, referees and volunteers in football. And with specific focus on minority groups, so female coaches from who are black or Asian, and essentially trying to increase the minority groups within the game, particularly in coaching and refereeing, but generally across the board as well. And we have with us tonight too, on that topic, Sharon from the FA, who I will allow to introduce herself.
Oh, thank you, Chloe. Hi everyone, my name is Sharon Muxworthy, and as Chloe alluded to, I work for the FA and I'm the Regional Coach Development Officer for women and girls in the South East, so looking after Surrey. So what's my job? My job is literally just to support females in their coaching journeys, whether that's entry level and you don't know what to do or where to go, whether supporting you in a club you're already working at, or even signpost you and support you in looking at future qualifications and opportunities and experiences you may want. Obviously working hand in hand with a wonderful team they have at Surrey FA. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. So what we're going to do, we're going to move on and we're going to speak to some of our female coaches which are on the line. So Sharon's going to lead this bit and we're going to do a little bit, or she's going to do a little bit of an interview. So I'll hand over to you, Sharon, so you can introduce the ladies that are speaking to us.
Thanks. So Nikki and Jackie, I can see you're there. Do you want to come on camera? Excellent. Okay. So Nikki and Jackie came did a female-only level 1 course with me earlier on in 2020. So first of all, Nikki, how long have you been involved in football?
So I'm fairly new to the sport. I only started playing a couple of years ago. I really wanted to play when I was younger. I used to kick a football around in the primary school playground with the boys, but sadly it was a time where the PE teacher wouldn't allow me to join the boys team and there was no girls team, so kind of football went out of my life. I've got 2 sons who are football mad and kind of got me into the sport. It's either I braced football and didn't have anything to talk to them about, so they really got me involved, and watching their training kind of made me look at it in a different perspective, and started playing a couple of years ago. And then I worked for a local school and got involved with the girls football team there, and then that kind of started my coaching journey.
Brilliant. And Jackie?
You're on mute, Jackie.
How shall I mute? So hi everybody. So I also only just really got involved myself playing football a couple of years ago, having watched my 3 sons either play or be referees. My husband's the chairman of our local community football club as well. And a couple of years ago we decided that us ladies would, and some of the mums would start playing football. So that's really where it began. And we very soon grew from 8 of us to 20 of us, to then the next year there's now about 35 of us, of all ages, all abilities. Some people have played football a lot and some people haven't, and some people are brand new to it, really, like I feel I am. And coaching came along because of the growth of the football club, really, for us. And we wanted to be able to offer all the ladies what they needed coaching wise. So we began with a small group to start with. We're hoping to develop that more as the COVID pandemic leaves us. Yes, that's it really.
Excellent. So obviously that's all you've ever wanted to be, both of you, is football coaches.
Of course.
Yeah, no, I'm only joking. But I mean, obviously the benefits that adult recreation and playing has given you, you've shared with me before. How did the sort of, you enrolled on the level 1 coach, didn't you, coaching course, both of you? How did that help you, or did that change any perceptions you had about coaching before?
You can go first, okay. So I found it really helpful because it kind of gave a real structure. So obviously, having been coached as with Rowan, you can see it's in next Jackie, Rowan coaching us, and also watching the boys being coached, it was just really nice to put some of the principles that you saw either in part in like a full context. It was really a really lovely group to train with. I think Jackie and I were both nervous about, that leap into, coaching, but actually it was no bigger than the leap to actually playing football. And I would really recommend it because I think as a player, I'm hoping that I will develop because I'm seeing it from another side of coaching.
Yeah, good. No, I can see that. And what skills do you think? I mean, other than the technical skills of coaching, what do you think are the skills needed to be a good coach? What did you learn?
I think the benefit of having like the empathy that you'd have with some of the players, and I mean, I know it's basic, but communication skills, and to try and speak to each individual player as well and think what they might need. Particularly with us, we've got a wide range of abilities, and I think that really helps to not just think about the skills and the fitness side of things, which is what we enjoy as well, but to think of all the other aspects.
I think it's about nurturing your players and making sure that they can be the best players they can be, and it really gave us the skills to look at when we were doing a training drill, to look at not just the skills, looking at the social and the mental exercises around it, to incorporate all of that.
Yeah, and I think it's something that many females sometimes overlook, how your natural nurturing skills come through in that coaching environment. You have the empathy and the insight and intuition to recognize when someone's just not themselves, and you're able to not focus on that, but slowly bring people out. What do you think? Do you think it's important to have females leading the sessions?
Definitely, because I think it will encourage more people to also play. If you're seeing more coaches that are women, you almost want it to. You don't want it to be. You don't want female coaches to be, not the norm. It shouldn't be a thing. It should be, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. That's the stage it would be ideal to get to.
Yeah. Thank you. Emma or Chloe or anyone in the room, if you get any questions for Jackie and Nikki and their journey so far, because obviously we've had COVID since you've got your actual level 1 qualification, and the opportunity to put it into practice has been limited so far. But the fact is now, do you feel more confident, do you think, going in and going out in the world when we are allowed to run sessions again?
Yeah, definitely. And also we met lots of people on the course, obviously, all different sort of backgrounds as well, and we've now got that support network that we can talk to them about, lots of ideas of where to get your coaching plans from as well. So a lot of that, we gained really through the course, as well as actually doing the course, and just having obviously you as our support as well. So all of that together, I think, will be, once we get back playing, will really help.
Yeah, and the more coaches and the more facilitators we have, the more sessions we can run, and we can take over the world, can't we?
Yeah.
That is
I mean, I'd really recommend it to anybody who's thinking about coaching, but maybe is a bit hesitant. They think it's going to be like, I don't know, formal exams and it's going to be really stressful. It's not. It's quite an informal learning environment, and a lot of it was about sharing your experiences as well. So I would really recommend it to anybody who's thinking of doing it.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Nikki. Emma.
I've got a question because I don't actually know. I know you did the level 1 course. Did you do a female only course,
Yeah.
or was it a mixed course? Female only.
Female only.
Did you feel
How many women were in the course?
About 24, wasn't it? It was in the 20s. I mean, I just picked the first course and it happened to be female only. So to me, I just wanted to get qualified, because I felt, especially with the girls at school, I was not doing them, you know, justice by not being qualified. But I have to say, if I was to do my next course, I think the Lee and Pete, who ran the course, filled us with so much confidence that it wouldn't put me off going to a mixed course the next time, because the staff, like Pete and Lee, were really welcoming and really, you know, really supportive. So I would definitely go to a mixed course if I did any more training.
That's really good to hear. That's really good feedback.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was a great course. I mean, because I just bolted on at the end, because I only came into the role as the Women and Girls Regional Officer for the last day and a half, but I loved the experience of working with and, you know, working with our male coaches as allies is really important in helping us, you know, develop and grow and feeling supported. But there's also the opportunity there of the choice, you know, if what you need, or if you would prefer a female only course, then it's to communicate that, because that's what we're there to try and, you know, give you the choices you want. And that might mean it may be sometimes, I mean, Surrey were brilliant. They managed to get 24 females on one course. But it could even be 2 county FAs coming together to offer a female only course if we didn't have the amount of numbers we'd need. For some, but also it's not so much about courses, it's about development. It may be that you want to do online the BT Playmaker, and then you want to come to some practical to improve your confidence. And that's what I'm there for, really, is to come along and try and support what you do online, to put it into the practical context. You feel confident when you go and work with your teams, be it your children's team, your adult recreation team, and or your son's teams, whichever teams you're working with. I mean, yes, Sarah, you've said that I would have preferred a female only course. Yeah, I've never been on a course where I'm not the only female, but I mean, I've been in the system for quite a long time. So there is a change, and that's why the FA has committed to having women and girls football development officers now, to try and promote and support females.
It'd be interesting to ask Lee and Pete if they learn anything by you know, running a session for just women, because I think there was a few occasions where they're like, oh, we hadn't thought of that, and it was almost like we'd given them a different perspective.
Yeah, Pete did
having spoken to Lee and Pete afterwards, I can say they definitely did learn stuff. Especially Pete. Pete found it a really interesting learning curve to, especially as the level 1 courses are normally 18 candidates, but to have 23, 24 as there were, he was like, it's completely different in a really refreshing way for him, and he's been doing it, or has been doing it a long time. So he enjoyed it as well. It was a fun one for us to have, obviously split between with lockdown in the middle, but I'm super pleased it was the one that we got to finish. I was also going to plug, while I was here, the Playmaker, which I know you've mentioned, Sharon, but that is an online free to access beginning step into sort of coaching, and it's a good way of sort of testing yourself in terms of whether that sort of way of thinking is what you're interested in, and whether coaching is something that you want to explore further. I will put the link for the Playmaker in the chat box, and I'll include it in an email that we send around at the end as well, just so that information's there for people. I've actually done it recently, just out of curiosity, especially with all the free time that I've got on Sundays at the minute with my girls not playing. And it was really interesting to just sort of dip back into the thought processes that FA courses sort of give you. It was good.
Yeah, and it's free as well. It doesn't cost a thing, so have a go. What's to lose? It's a bit like, you know, when you go and have your taster session. It's a taster session into, is coaching something you'd like to do? And don't be, I think the big thing is, don't be scared by the word coach. You do it every day in your lives. You lead, you communicate, you listen, you empathise, you organise, you balance about 5 things at the same time, just in your normal day life, and that transfers to coaching, your ability to communicate that and work in that way. Does anyone get any more questions about coaching and get how you can coach?
Nothing's come in as of yet, but I think if anyone has anything that comes up as the evening goes on, we will have another question point at the end, so we can always sort of dart back in where we've left off with coaching. I'm gonna share my screen again, and hopefully this will be just as smooth as the first time.
It was very smooth, Chloe.
Has that worked? Can you see it?
Yes, good.
Okay.
Okay, so we had some questions come in when you guys signed up for the event this evening, so we're going to try and address them now as best we can. So there's quite a few that came in about the Flexi League. So I know majority of people on the call are members of teams that are part of one of the Flexi League teams, which is great. And obviously we had an unsettled season towards the end of last season, and the same has happened again the start of this season, unfortunately. We would love to finish the season. Obviously at the moment, until we get an announcement from the government on the 15th of February, we really can't say one way or another if it definitely will be able to be completed, but our intention is that it will be. We'll try and fit in as many games as we can. If it means playing more than once a month and you guys are happy to do so, we'll probably allow you that flexibility to fit in the games when you can. We have got an end of season festival booked in for June. I think the date is the 12th. It's a Sunday. So again, if we need to roll games over to that point, we could do them on that day as well. So in answer to that question, yes, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We want you all to play and we want to get the season finished. So let's all hope we can. The second question that came in was about slide tackles not being allowed in the league rules. So these are our competition rules, and we chose to put that in there because, well, for a few reasons. If you went to a goal centre to play in a league there, you would find the same thing. You're not allowed to slide tackle. One of the key reasons that we added that in with our rules is there's a lot of mixed abilities playing, and we felt that if you allow slide tackling, it could be quite intimidating for those new players that are first starting out in competitive games. A lot of teams will have come from just a turn up and play session and they just want those extra games. One of the reasons that the league is once a month fixtures. So we felt that the best and the safest thing to do was to avoid the slide tackling. And also with slide tackling, it should really be last resort. So you do take yourself out of the game as soon as you hit the deck. And if I was still playing, I would not want to be sliding around on 3G if I was playing on 3G either. So that is the reason that they are not in there. The next one was, what would you suggest is the best method for promoting sessions? So I kind of wanted to put this question back to you guys, because you're the ones that are successful with getting participants to your sessions. And the interesting one there was about walking football. So walking football is something that we are looking to develop further. We know there's only 2 or 3 walking football sessions across the county at the moment. But the intention is to get more women playing walking football if that's a better option for them. So yes, we are looking to increase that, and if we can introduce walking football tournaments, we would absolutely do that as well. It's about having the numbers, and as we know with women's football, it's still evolving. So if anyone's got any suggestions on how we can, or how people can promote their sessions, please do pop them in the chat box and we can have a look at some of them.
I've got some in already.
So do you go through them, Chloe? As they come in?
I'll read through as suggestions come in, so that it saves everyone reading silently. So Rox has said about GP surgeries, Facebook, schools. I think just on the topic of social media and Facebook, there's a real focus, I think, on Facebook compared maybe to Instagram or Twitter. I think that Facebook is quite a network in terms of sort of groups that already exist that you can tap into, in terms of going, oh, you're a coffee morning group, why don't you come and do this too, and bring a friend, kind of thing. So yeah, just I know that's our marketing team's favorite thing to say, is that sort of Facebook is really useful for finding the pre-existing dynamics between groups of people.
And if you're not already, there is a Women's Rec Facebook page or group, so do get your group signed up to there, because there's a lot of interaction that goes on that page, in particular tournaments and festivals going at normally, well, when we could play across the country, so worth getting involved in that. I know there's a few sessions as well that did start from school sessions, so mums dropping kids off at school and then coming to run around for an hour playing football, or before they pick the kids up as well. So schools are definitely a key part for promotion there.
We've got a few more. I like this one because it comes to an idea that you and I have had before, Emma, around Slimming World groups. As they're changing their diet, they're also looking to increase their exercise. Random, but it's worked for our team. Yeah, it's one that I think is, again, it's an existing group, and you can sort of take advantage of that and sort of, as you say, apply the benefits of football to something else they're looking to achieve. Reigate say they use all three, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and try to encourage our players to reshare stuff for their friends too. That's a good shout. As much sharing as possible across your existing networks is always an excellent idea. Facebook Boost, yeah, that essentially puts pages in front of people that wouldn't normally see it, which is quite good. And you can target certain ages and interests. And then first few tasters. Let me start that again. First few sessions for free. That's a difficult one. And tasters always help. So there's little commitment as possible at the start, so people can sort of test their toes. I think that's some really good stuff that we can use. And what we'll do as well, like I say, all of these suggestions in the chat, we will compile them all and sort of put together the information we get from tonight so that it's there for everyone to access afterwards too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, sorry, was someone... Shall I carry on? So what are the plans in place to develop women's football in Surrey? So this question really got me and Chloe thinking earlier, because there's loads of stuff going on, and then it made us think, well, actually, maybe we're not telling you what's going on enough. So just to give you a few figures, and I had jotted them down, in Surrey there's 47 women's teams, and that's like from 5v5, 7v7 up to 11 aside. And in terms of female teams, so under 18s and below, we've got just under 300 of them. So women's football, the female game in Surrey, is absolutely thriving at the moment. And we work to KPIs, so we have targets that we have to hit. And at the moment, the target for the end of this season, we're already on 810 above what we should be. So it really is absolutely thriving. In terms of opportunities to play, so some of you will have heard of the Surrey County Women's and Girls League. Some of you that are at clubs now that have got girls teams within your clubs, they will probably be playing within that league. And that is a huge league. We were trying to work out how many players are in it earlier, but we didn't get very far. But we think we're probably talking in over 1,000, Chloe.
Definitely, yeah.
Probably more than that, to be honest. It's one of the most established girls' leagues in the southeast, and they go up to under 18s. They start at under 8s, and they have a division for each age group up until under 18s, which is fantastic. When you get to women's football. So if you want to play post under 18, 11v11, the options are unfortunately at the moment out of the county. We did used to have a county league, but it's something we're looking to introduce in the next season or so for 11v11. But at the moment, there's the South East Counties Women's Football League. You've got the Greater London Women's Football League, and probably 3 or 4 of our women's 11v11 teams play in the Thames Valley League as well, which is sort of out towards Oxford, Berkshire way, if my geography is right on that one. So yeah, when you get to 11v11 and you want to play every Sunday, we can point you in the right direction there. But hopefully by the time any of you guys do want to get involved in that, we might well have our own county league. So in terms of opportunities to play, there are loads in the county, and I'd be happy to discuss further with you, especially if you're at a club and you haven't got many girls' youth teams playing. Do speak to me because we can give you ideas on how to get them playing. There's a FA programme called the Wildcats. And across Surrey, we've got 63 Wildcat Centers, which is amazing. And that's it's your beginner entry level for girls 5 to 11. So they introduce the players nice and slowly to the game, don't necessarily stick a ball at their feet straight away. It's a little bit more about coordination and introducing them with their friends. And a lot of clubs will get these centres playing, or get the centres, get the girls playing, and over the seasons they'll become an under 8s, 9s, 10s club. I think there might be some people on the call. I know Roxanne at Palace, they've got a number of these centres running, and they'll link in with local grassroots clubs and feed the players through. But there's no pressure there. If there's a girl that doesn't want to play in a club, so be it. She can just stay in that Wildcat Centre till she's 11, and then they can look at opportunities there for them. So
as well, to start getting confidence as a coach.
Yeah, good shout.
If you're interested in it, so all you need is the BT Playmaker, and then you can help and support and develop those fundamentals.
Yeah, definitely, and we can point you in the right direction of that. So if you come to do a Playmaker course or a level 1, and maybe you're not so comfortable straight away coaching your peers, but you want to coach at a younger age group, just give me, Chloe or Sharon a shout, and then we can point you to your local Wildcat Centre.
I will add that coaching Wildcats is the most fun. With the age group and the age ranges, it is excellent. 5-year-olds running around, just endless entertainment.
Rock is already saying, look, go and have a little try at one of her centres. Happy to take a volunteer to do some hours and get the experience. So that's great.
Brilliant. They'll be queuing up, Rocks. And also as well, I don't know if any of you, I was going to ask this question to Jackie and Nicola earlier, but the difference between coaching boys and girls as well is quite evident, and even a lot of guys will find that once they've gone from coaching a lads team across to a girls team, they'll find it so much more enjoyable. I don't want to like down the boys, but a lot of them will find it a lot easier to do as well.
Yeah.
And the last question there is about setting up female youth leagues in Surrey. So as I said, we have got a female youth league. That's the Surrey County Women's and Girls League. And if you need contact details for that league, do let me know and I can pass you that information on, especially if you're looking to set up a team in the next season or so.
Cool.
Thanks, Chloe.
I believe the next slide is the exciting one, Emma.
Yay. Well, we think it is. So what we wanted to talk to you as well about this evening is a little thing that me and Chloe have been working on for a while now. So some of you that are at clubs will have heard of Charter Standard. So Charter Standard is essentially a kite mark for clubs, which ensures that there are qualified coaches in place, safeguarding qualifications, emergency aid and DBSs. Now, we were thinking that maybe it would be really nice to have something just for our women's rec teams to give them some kind of identity and make it look a little bit more professional and help you with recruitment as well. So we wanted to get your opinions on this, and this is not a done deal at all. We really do want your input, because if you all think it's an absolutely rubbish idea, we would rethink it completely. So let me run through. We're going to have 3 levels. We're going to have bronze, silver and gold, and hopefully as we go through here you'll see what we've done. We've got a little play on words, all fell into place quite nicely. So build is the bronze level, and these are the requirements on the screen that we would be looking for a bronze level club to have. Now, we're not saying at all that bronze, silver, gold, one's better than the other. It's what's suitable for your club. Okay, so if you're at a bronze level, that might be the level that you always remain because that's what you want to offer. So just have a little read through here. It's also encouraging people to take the Playmaker course as well, which, as Sharon and Chloe alluded to, it is free to do. But it also gives your club a little bit more status too. So you're saying that you're going to have a first aider, a first aid kit, where you've got under 18 players. I know some sessions do have under 18 players, is to make sure you've got someone with a DBS just to safeguard you. Have a nominated key person for the group, which you all will anyway, because I'm sure every group's got a WhatsApp group or some way of communicating. To have a think about what facility you're using. Has it got, is it accessible for everyone? Good playing surface, female toilets. What else have we got on there? And then a method to gather player feedback. So we put this one in here because we felt that it was really key. And I think that as women's recreational groups, you probably do this a lot better than some of our other clubs and age groups, but it's just to get feedback from your players of what they actually want from the session. So a lot of women may come because of the social element rather than actually wanting to compete in games every week or every other week. So it's actually just getting a little bit of input from those people that come to your sessions. And the other one on there as well is access to safeguarding support. So again, very important, not just for those under 18s as well. Safeguarding covers everyone. So if you've got an issue or a concern within your club, it's knowing where that point of contact is. And here at the County FA, we've got a designated safeguarding officer who can advise with that as well. So that would be your build level, so your bronze level club. If we move on to the silver, which is your sustain. So the requirements would be the same as the bronze, but we're just adding a few little extra bits on here. So we're looking for 2 people to have completed the Playmaker or an FA coaching qualification. And I'm fairly certain that most of the sessions in Surrey now have got someone at that level. And what we ask is if you've got that FA level 1 coach, can we maybe encourage your players to get onto the Playmaker as well, so they can help support you with the sessions? We've got a really comprehensive CPD programme that runs online at the moment, as we currently are, and Chloe's heading that up. And we're encouraging people to sign up so they get newsletters, they get access to attend these CPDs and opportunities to upskill themselves. The other one we put in there for silver, or for sustain, was to take part in the Flexi League or a tournament. So you don't necessarily have to have signed up for the league, but we would encourage you that when we run tournaments, can you attend a tournament once a season? Just because if you've got players in your group that are that little bit more competitive, you are given those opportunities to play matches. And the last one we put on there was team identity. So such as a name and a colour. It doesn't mean you need a kit. We're not asking you to go out and buy a snazzy kit. It's just some kind of identity so we know who you are. So if someone says a club to us, we know, yeah, heard of them, they play in this colour. And then our gold level for grow is all of the previous, and then a few additional bits here. So again, a lot of you will have these in place. So it's having a recognised lead coach, having one person who's completed mental health training, so we can point you in the direction of a course for that. But again, really, really important now, because if you're recruiting players post lockdown, it's really important you know the reasons that they want to play football, and it might not just be initially for the actual football. There might be more to it because they need to do it for themselves and for other reasons. So we spoke about social media already this evening. So we're saying, can we have an active social media account? So it could be Twitter, Instagram or Facebook, any of them. Or like Reigate, you might have all 3, which is fantastic, but it shows that it helps with your recruitment. For this one, we are asking for a team kit. So you might have a badge. Some of you might have club badges. So can we get that on your kit? Looking at how to develop and sustain your sessions. So that will be support from Sharon. She can help the coaches there in terms of their own development, but also how can you make your sessions and your promotion really appealing to everyone that might want to get involved in recreational football. Competitive opportunities for members. So again, as we spoke about, can you get involved in the league? Can you get involved in the tournaments that are being run? We've added on there as well about player check-in once a season, so a little bit about like the feedback, but you might have a social. It might be a Zoom call, it might be when we're allowed to go back into the pubs and the bars, it might be something like that, but just can you get all your players together, check in with them, and then maybe find out a little bit more about what you can do to develop the session or the club a little bit further. CPD we spoke about, so that'll be the same. It's linking in with Chloe, Sharon, signing up for any online or in-person CPD that we offer. And some of you might want to have end of season gatherings and awards. Obviously, a lot of the big junior clubs do that anyway, so it could be something you might introduce to your own club, and it might actually be something that Surrey FA introduce going forward as well. And then encourage your players to complete the FA Playmaker. So as well as having your coach and your lead coach qualified, can we get as many as your players qualified as well? So that is our proposal. Hopefully you like the logos as well. Chloe and I spent a bit of time working on the logos. It's similar to the Flexi League one, but obviously you've added a little bit underneath there. We can't take credit for designing them, but we certainly had a good bit of input on that. But yeah, thoughts please. If anyone wants to raise their hand and speak or pop it into the group, we would welcome it, because we can only make it better and it's got to suit you guys.
Emma and I have really tried to think about as well when doing this, not making them completely unattainable, and if we've got it wrong and they are completely unattainable, then tell us. But I think a lot of it has been around, well, sessions will probably already have this and this would probably already be in place, and it's trying to make it just it's sort of a kite mark, I guess, but yeah, just a little bit more sort of a statement around where your session is at.
Yeah, definitely. Sarah, your question there about because Merstham are a charter standard club, so you fall under that, so you are, Merstham ladies are charter standard, but you would be this as well, so it would work alongside, if that makes sense. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, you would get both, and I think that when you were then promoting your sessions, your women's rec session or your women's team sessions, you would use this image and this sort of scale list. It's quite vague in terms of its name at the minute as an overall thing. We see it as an identity with each individual level, because we don't see it being I have to go from bronze to silver to gold, that is the only way. It's much more about seeing where you fit in.
I see Rox has put in there about funding that and that as well, but just before I speak about the funding side of things, what we want to do with each of these levels is offer incentives as well. So this season, if you're a part of the Flexi League, you will have got a first aid kit. So it's something that we're looking to support clubs with. So if anyone's got any ideas about what incentives would help you at each level, so we're thinking along the lines of maybe some match balls or some training balls, bibs, I don't know, maybe a kit voucher, anything like that we can consider, because we want it to suit you guys rather than us just coming up with the ideas and going, right, yeah, here's 10 footballs, but actually you don't need 10 footballs. So it's any input along those things. In terms of funding, Rox, great question. I wish I could give you a really clear answer on that at the moment, but there's not a lot of funding streams out there due to obviously the pandemic. And normally around February time, the Football Foundation have a fund called Grow the Game. Now, last year, that did happen in February, but the funding got cut because of COVID. So no funding got given out for that particular fund. And how that fund normally works, it's £1,500 for a new team. And it was females and disability that it concentrated on. Now, I'm not sure if that's going to come out again this February, but if it does, obviously I will let all of you know so that you can apply for that. Any other funding opportunities that do come up, we will let you know. It may be something, sometimes as the county FA, we work on internal pots of funding as well. So if we have got some funding that we can put towards women's football or the female game, we will look to do that, but it probably won't be until March, April time when we know where we're sat with our budget. So potentially, yes, we'd love to give you some money to help support and grow, but I can't promise anything at the moment, unfortunately. Jack, what have we got on here? So I'm trying to read through the questions. Facilities, Is that Reigate Women facilities? It's the hardest thing for us, access to toilets as we use a school in the evening. Well, that is tricky as well, but potentially we can help you in terms of linking you up with the new facilities. There's a lot of new facilities in the pipeline that haven't been built yet, so it's always worth having a conversation with me, because if there's new facilities that are in your area, if they're funded by the Football Foundation, one of the key things they were asked for is, are you supporting disability football? Are you supporting the female game, etc., etc.? So if a facility comes through to me, I will always try and link them up with local women's groups so that they get that opportunity to use that facility, so that it's community based. So Zoe, great question. Maybe I can keep you in the loop on stuff that's coming up in Reigate and Banstead if you follow up with me after this call, maybe later this week. Jackie, you put about charter standard for Kingswood TFC, is that correct? I think that has that come in at the moment? I think you're liaising with my colleague Rob on that. Oh, I can't hear you. On mute, Rowan.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I sent obviously all the details that I'd sent to you. And I think he's down to a couple of days a week, I think now, isn't he? So he's probably got lots of work to do in little time at the moment.
That's all right. I'll give him a nudge. Leave it with me.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Emma.
I'll read this one out for you, Emma, because it's quite long. Just says, building on Zoe's comment, we haven't found another option that is reasonably priced. All the other options located quite a lot more expensive per hour. I think I'm just going to jump in and offer my 2 pence on it, but I think it's important for us to know that we're not always aware of sort of facility availability, facility pricing, and how that works, because we can't sort of work out where everyone is all the time, is the honest answer. So it's good for that information to be fed into us, and if that is something that is an issue for you, then do let us know, because we can then look to work on, okay, well, we know that's a problem in this place. What can we do with, like Emma said, with the Football Foundation projects and stuff like that?
Yeah, no, definitely. Good point. Yeah, good point there, Chloe. Just to give you a little bit of an insight into how the Football Foundation works. So when a project comes in, I will be asked to check the development plan and the usage of those development plans. And because they're being funded from the Football Foundation, they need to offer the facility at a reasonable price. So Zoe and Sam, if you follow up with me later this week about that, because I might have a bit of info to give you on that one. So
I'm going to ask a specific question about these now, just to try and play devil's advocate with my own work. Do you think there's anything support-wise that we would need to do specifically to help with this? Is there anything that you look at and go, I wouldn't have a clue how to start achieving that, or not? Does it seem sort of quite simple in terms of how it would be achieved? Scroll through them so you can see them all again.
To me, it seems straightforward, but Jackie and Rowan can probably answer better for the club. But it might be when you start doing it, that if you find out certain clubs, if they've done a certain bit, and share it as a case study, because even if people know how to do it, they get other ideas from other people.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point, and it would be good to start that. That's exactly what we could use as well in terms of helping grow women's rec football, is do case studies on this, and sort of how the different ones were achieved, and then put that to when someone comes to us and say, I want to start a women's rec session, we go, well, look at these success stories. That's a really good idea. Good point. Code of conducts and risk assessments. Yeah, that's definitely, and that's definitely something that we can help with in terms of templates and guidance documents. She says, looking at Emma, hoping.
Yeah, no, definitely can help on that one. That wouldn't be a problem at all. I think the aim of this is to ensure that you guys are operating your sessions as a charter standard club would, so they're to a certain level, and then you can guarantee that any new players that come in are going to receive a certain level of service. And I think that's really important, because you're all doing fantastic jobs. You've shown that on the recruitment side of things and how things have grown just over the last 2 years. So we want to offer you something to reward you and sort of show off the fact that, yes, we are a women's rec team and we're operating to this level, and this is what we've got in place. And this is a new thing. I'm not aware of this happening across the country. So we are kind of pilots in it, but pioneers, yeah. We just want your input on it, so it's really positive to hear. So thank you so far. Really good input as well. The code of conducts and that is a great shout, and that's something that if any of you guys need that anyway, just do contact me, because we have got some that we can share with you.
Yeah, and sort of all the comments we'll pick up, as I say. I'm going to move the slides on, but I will go through all the comments and make sure I get sort of that in and register that and sort of note who said what as well, so that when it comes to when we potentially launch this further down the line, we know what might come back from people and how we can sort of get the response and the help ready for each session before we go. I guess the final thing is sort of I think in the initial menu I was quite cheesy and called it Let's Talk Football, but this is the part where essentially any questions, anyone that wants to sort of offer any opinions or thoughts on anything about football generally, I'm going to be quite broad, football generally, then this is the chance. You can do that in the chat box. Feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand and unmute yourself, and we will just have a chat to finish up with.
Don't be shy. There's a lot of people on here that have got a lot of knowledge. So if you've got anything you're not sure on, whether it's coaching or around development, participation, just shout. Now's your time.
Nikki's got a hand up.
Yeah, let's start with you then. Fab, yeah.
I don't know if this has been suggested, but we quite often go to the Sussex. They do a Friday night tournament once a month, and the ladies really love it and literally would travel to Lancing on a Friday night once a month because it's so much fun. And whether you consider doing something like that at Meadowbank.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, no, it is. We last season the plan was to do 2 festivals or tournaments a season, so we would have done one at the end of the season and one around Christmas time, and I think we got the futsal one in at Christmas, and then the summer one went out the window, unfortunately. If there's demand there, we could do something, because we've got the league running once a month as well. I don't know if we'd be able to do it as regularly as once a month, because I wouldn't want, the commitment for the league seems to work quite nicely because you've got that monthly fixture, so I wouldn't want to put too much onto clubs. But if the demand's there, yes, we can certainly look at it. And Chloe, Meadowbank Friday evenings, I'm not sure what
Meadowbank on
someone's training there, but
it's definitely Mole Valley girls, because that's where I spend my Friday nights up at Meadowbank. But yeah, I think there's definitely potential in terms of time slots that exist though, and it's something that Andrew and our facilities team are keen to try and use these slots more for our projects. So if we go to him and say, we've got this, can we have some time, he will find a way of fitting us in as much as possible around the various other uses that it has.
It's just a nice atmosphere. They you know, it's not the same teams every time you turn up. You sign up for the month, and they have music playing. It's just a nice atmosphere. It's nice to do it in the evening.
No, it sounds good. We can certainly look at it. I think there's something, maybe we'll put a survey out to our clubs and see what the interest is like, and see if maybe we can fit a few in between, maybe after February and the end of the season. We'll see.
It'd be nicer to travel to Dorking than Lancing.
No, I can
imagine. Got a question in the chat box, Emma. Women's Rec League, do you have any thoughts to make it ability based rather than location?
Yeah, to be honest, this season it very nearly went that way. I sent a survey out, as you might have remembered, early on in the season to see what people's preference was, and it really came back that people were not worried about the ability. There was only probably, I think, 2 clubs that maybe felt that way. I think as the league develops, I think that it will naturally go to a Division 1 and 2 or an A and B. It's just as long as people are able to travel, and I think the travel issue was more important to people than the ability this season. But I'm more than happy to look at that again, and I'm happy to change it depending what the clubs want. But it appeared that the travel was more important than actually playing with similar abilities. Who put that, the bar open at Meadowbank? Yeah, I think they'd want the bar open as well.
Good way of raising funds.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, any last questions?
Okay. I can't remember if this is the last slide or not. No, I've been really clever. Look at that.
So here's our contact details. Take a photo, make a note of them. We can send these details around post this evening anyway. But if you want to get hold of any of us and ask us any questions at all around coaching, development, workforce, you know who we are now. You've put faces and names together, and it's lovely to see you all here this evening too. So thank you for taking the time out. I hope you have enjoyed this evening and got something out of it. And keep up the great work. Football will be back post February the 15th. Let's hope.
That's all you can do at the minute.
Brilliant. Thank you very. Oh, has Nicola got a question? Nicola's hands up.
No, that's still up.
From earlier. Okay, brilliant. Thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
You've brightened up Monday, the 18th of January.
Good start to the week.